Today we have David Ghiyam, who not only is a self-made millionaire by the age 15, but the co-founder of Mary Ruth Organics and one of the best, most transformative Kabbalah teachers in the whole wide world. Welcome, David.
Thank you, Melissa. That's very sweet of you.
You know what? These are facts. I've been, like I told you offline, looking at your content, and I fully downloaded the Kabbalah Masterclass and have been watching it since poking around into your life and learning more about you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been an incredible journey. And the Masterclass has been a labor of love, all done for charity, that kind of encompasses all this wisdom of Kabbalah and brings it out to the world.
Woo, we have so much to unpack. But first, let's talk about a young David.
Okay.
And it seems that you were very driven and very good at making money. And your uncle, I believe, called you into spirituality. So it didn't all go to your head. Take me back there.
Okay, so it started at 15. I was actually playing poker to make money. And it was consuming a lot of my time. And then also I had gotten into the stock market. I forget, it was 2000, and it was a time where it was just crazy and everybody was making money. And my uncle is the one who said, I think you would like the wisdom of Kabbalah. And I said, yeah, I didn't know if it was religion. I didn't understand really what it was. And I originally said no. But he's like, no, it's spirituality and I think you'll love it. I went to one class and I asked so many questions about life. Every question was answered, changed my life. And then I devoted my life to it. I graduated from college. And then when I was 19, I said, I want to fully join the nonprofit world and bring this to the world. And that's what I did. So till today, all the work I do with Kabbalah and spirituality is the charitable part of my life. And, given thousands of seminars and, tens of thousands of hours of coaching, all to give back. And then about 10 years ago, when I was 29 years old, Mary Ruth and I, we started Mary Ruth Organics. And again, that was a business that was created primarily because she was in health and wellness and I was on the spiritual side of things. We never had started a company before, but we just said, well, let's do something that can kind of give back to the world and help, finance our life. But it took off and it is what it is today.
Oh, there's so many places.
And there's a lot of spiritual laws that went into kind of the building of that brand as well.
Oh, I cannot wait to get into those spiritual laws. Okay, so 15 years old, you made most of this money you said on the stock market?
Yeah, I would say poker and stock market was
Unreal.
what it was. Yeah, but
calculated risk.
Yes, very much. But it didn't make me happy. It didn't do anything for me the way the spiritual wisdom for myself and also, helping others with it did from a fulfillment point of view.
Okay, so from the early age, what about Kabbalah really, that aha moment that really drew you to it? What were your initial findings with Kabbalah where you were like, this is my jam?
First, that nothing is random.
Nope.
There are universal spiritual laws that govern everything. Even though we don't see it, we only see 1% of reality. There's a whole 99% realm that is governed strictly by spiritual laws. So in the same way, this physical world is governed by gravity. And whether a person believes in gravity or not, we're bound to it. There are spiritual laws behind soulmates. There are spiritual laws behind human consciousness, around healing, around abundance. And Kabbalah explains that we are souls that were created as vessels that hold what's called the light of the creator. So there's only two forces in this world. There's the creator and the light that emanates from the creator, which is all the fulfillment and abundance in this world, both physical and spiritual. And then the souls, which are the vessels encapsulated. The reason I don't have something in my life, or the reason I have pain in a certain area, is not because my soulmate doesn't exist, or healing doesn't exist, or the right doctor doesn't exist, or my purpose doesn't exist, or I don't know how I'm going to make money. Money doesn't exist for me. It's because I haven't created the vessel by which to hold that energy. That energy wants to come in, and it wants to come in for everyone. Not only that, if you desire something, it means it exists, causing you to desire it. You'll never want something that wasn't destined for you to receive. So I know that as soon as I want something or that desire comes to me, in some shape or form, the creator wants me to reveal that. Now, the reason it hasn't been revealed is not because of the creator or the creator's energy, infinite energy. It's because my vessel hasn't expanded yet to hold that energy. A good analogy would be a light bulb. A 60-watt light bulb can only hold 60 watts of energy. If you try to put 1,000 watts into a 60-watt bulb, you implode the bulb. Many people are 60-watt vessels, but they want 1,000-watt relationships. They want 1,000-watt wealth. They want 1,000 watts of respect, but they don't have the vessel for it. That's why the energy doesn't come in. That's the universal law. If you don't have something, it's even if 8 billion people, here's what I'll tell you. If you've earned your soulmate, even if 8 billion people tried to stop you from meeting your soulmate, they couldn't. That's how powerful the universe is. I mean, we see serial killers in prison getting married.
I mean,
if a serial killer in prison, life in prison, can get married with someone on the outside, I think you have a chance too when you've earned your soulmate.
By the way, that's so true. I have so many questions about expanding the vessel and soulmates. Which one should we tackle
Go
first?
whatever you feel called to do.
Let's do let's do vessels because I think that will go to the soulmate. So how does one expand their vessel?
Okay, so the wisdom of Kabbalah kind of just goes step by step, and we talk about it in Kabbalah 1, like what are the things we need to do to expand the vessel? And it really starts with understanding what are the qualities of the creator so that I can emulate those qualities one by one. So Kabbalah explains that our soul came to this world with what's called tikkun, which in Hebrew it means our correction. There are layers and layers like an onion of qualities, fears, and negativity and trauma that we need to correct. And the correction of that tikkun will be the first part of expanding the vessel. Not only that, the soul, based on whatever its corrections are that it brings from past life, chooses the destiny, the parents, the siblings, the relationships, every relationship you've ever had, and you continue to have, your soul foresaw and called in because that relationship was deemed to be perfect to activate and awaken your correction by which to change it. So if I have fear of abandonment as a correction, right, I'm sure it's a common one, I will attract people who will awaken that so that I can transform it. Yeah. I always make this joke. I taught this class for a group of women. They were all single. And it was the soulmate topic, right? So everyone's like, how do we find our soulmate? And I said, well, raise your hand if the kind of man you're looking for is tall, dark, and unavailable. And then they all start laughing. And that's the truth, right? It's because there's a part of them that, why do they keep attracting the man that's unavailable or the man that it doesn't commit or the man that's half in and out? Like, why are they attracting that over and over again? It's because there's a part of them that their correction is they're so afraid of, I don't know, losing their independence. They're so afraid of getting hurt. They're so afraid of opening their heart. There's so much fear involved that they're calling in something that they know won't commit to them.
Yeah.
So we are always calling in what is perfect for our soul to transform. And if we're in denial of that, then we're just blaming everybody, and then we're going to keep repeating the process over and over again. So that is probably the first and most powerful understanding, that I came to this world to transform all my negativity, all my limitations. And not only that, but every single human in my life that comes in and out, they would not be in my life. They would not activate me. They would not trigger me if my soul did not call for them to come in order to help me.
So when you say about peeling these layers back of the onion to grow the vessel, you know, there's modalities such as meditation.
Yeah.
Or there's journaling. But how does one, I guess, shed and sever that layer of the onion? When is the aha, I learned my lesson, and how do they get there?
That's a great question. So all these modalities are tools that we can use within Kabbalah. And I see this on my Instagram. I get messages like daily from people of all religions. Like today, someone who said she's Muslim and she's been practicing deep, devout Muslim her whole life, started to take Kabbalah, totally changed her life and showed her how to be a better Muslim. I had people who are Catholic, Christian, Scientologists, atheists. My biggest following is Hindu. They're all around the world, people are like, we're learning Kabbalah, and it's giving us the tools, the technology, and the whole understanding of how to relate with the energy that's called the creator. Now, going back to your question, first understanding is, based on my correction, I will keep having repetitive patterns. If something is happening to you more than once, it is a result of the soul's correction. Now, what do you do with that? The way to transform a correction, a tikkun, is to realize that how you know you're brushing up against tikkun, how you know you're experiencing tikkun is when you feel the emptiness, when you feel the void, when you feel the pain, That is a moment that your soul has been waiting for thousands of years to correct.
Huh.
What the negative forces of this world are challenging us to do is to fill the void immediately. So when you feel compelled to fill the void, you feel this addictive feeling coming up.
AKA not feel your feelings. Distracted.
Really to distract,
Yeah.
to not feel. Instead of sitting with the pain, every time you try to distract and you look for instant gratification, Kabbalah calls this reactive behavior. Every time you're reactive, you disconnect from the light of the Creator. Every time you're reactive, you shrink your vessel and you can't hold miracles anymore. So I'll give you an example. Reactive behavior, first, by definition, means any thought, word, or action which comes from fear or lack in order to connect to instant gratification. So anything you do from fear or lack in order to just get some instant energy is considered reactive, and it disconnects you from the universal force of the light of the Creator. And as a result, your soulmate gets pushed out 3 months. Your abundance gets pushed out 3 months. Like imagine just like your wedding date just being postponed every time you're reactive.
That's actually really funny.
Right, it's really funny. So throughout the day, there's going to be, I mean, this is getting really deep, but
I love getting really deep.
I feel like your audience is calling for it. So I've never talked about this far in, but I'll get it. Tikkun comes up in 3 ways. There's time-based tikkun, there's place-based tikkun, and there's soul-based tikkun. So I'll explain what that means. Time-based means that at this specific time in your life, in a past life, you failed the test. You engaged in instant gratification instead of transforming reactive behavior, pausing, right? You just got to pause when you feel that lack and to feel it fully.
Yeah.
Because you didn't do that at a certain time in past life, like let's say at the age of 34 years old, 2 months, 3 days, at the 10th hour, there was a test and you failed it, you will have to experience that exactly in the next lifetime at a certain time. So there are a lot of tests that come to our lives based on time. And either we pass the test or we don't. If we pass the test, we expand the vessel, we shift to a new destiny, we have more miracles. If we fail the test, it's not a punishment. It's very much like GPS. You missed the turn. The GPS just says recalculating, but it adds a few minutes to your time.
Yeah.
You can keep failing. The GPS won't judge you.
Yeah.
The Creator doesn't judge. Like there's no like punishment and reward. Everything is, you're given a path to your highest good. And if you're reactive, no problem, you're taking a detour. But the GPS will recalculate via pain and suffering to take you back. It's just going to take longer and it's going to be a little more painful. So you can choose to veer off the course that's given, which is what Kabbalah explains is to become like the Creator, or you can choose to stay on it. But if you stay on it, you'll have the most miracles and you'll get there quicker.
Now there's self-driving cars.
And now there's self-driving cars. And the truth is,
Whoosh.
even that will find a way kind of to mess up because we can never lose our personal free will to become like the Creator. There's never going to be a person out there who's going to do your tikkun for you or drive your car for you spiritually. That's actually a really powerful thing because a lot of religions talk about, someone or something will come to save everyone or to save you. But actually, it's funny, Jesus was a great Kabbalist. No soul can come to save you until you've done the work to earn that.
Yeah.
It's a whole different discussion. But let me go back to the 3 things. So there's time. Then there's place-based tikkun, which means that there are certain parts of the world that we have been reactive, past life, this life, and we've created darkness there and we have to go correct it. So sometimes when you feel called to go to a certain country, move to a certain city, it could even be you're on the freeway and you miss the exit.
Yeah.
The Creator arranged for you to miss the exit because that next mile of road, there are sparks of light that need to be elevated through not being angry or complaining, because often when you miss the exit, you're upset for that next mile before the next exit. But actually, if you miss the exit, you should say thank you and say, now is my opportunity to feel pain and lack and to transform it by pausing and saying what we say in Kabbalah 1, what a pleasure. Like, what a pleasure that I get this opportunity to correct the part of my soul right now. And so that's place-based. And the third one is soul-based. Soul-based basically means the parts of ourselves that we carry into every relationship, every circumstance. And like if you're in a relationship, this man was attracted to you because his soul saw that you are the best person right now in his life to both activate and help him see his fears, his darkness, his insecurities, which is his tikkun, as well as support him in the ways of bringing out his positive qualities in this world, which are the two things we need. Yeah, there's really two things we need to do. We need to work on our negative, and we need to accentuate our positive and bring energy to the world. You have to do both in order to fulfill your correction in this world. So like, if my purpose, let's say in this world, is to spread wisdom and whatnot, like I have to push myself every day to find ways to inspire more souls. I can't just like settle.
Yeah.
And then that's 50% of my purpose in this world. The other 50% is I need to constantly look inside myself and see what's coming up. Sometimes you have a person who does one but not the other.
Yeah.
And that's also chaos.
That is chaos. Okay, well now I'm gonna keep adding stuff.
Keep going. You can go as deep as you want.
I want to talk definitely about soulmates, because like who doesn't want to? That's so fun. But purpose. So from my understanding from your videos, Kabbalah is to, I guess, identify and proceed with one's like life's purpose. Am I right?
Well, there's the universal purpose.
Universal purpose.
Universal purpose of all of us is the same, is to become like the creator.
Yes.
To become one with the creator, and as a result experience all the physical and spiritual pleasures of life. But within that, each of us have individual ways that we bring energy and light to the world. Whether that's a business, whether that's as a parent, whether that's as a product you make, or a podcast that you have, or you're a creator of some kind, or you're a musician or an actor. It's your way of bringing light, energy, joy, happiness to the world.
So there's a lot of people out there that maybe struggle with the purpose or lack
finding
purpose.
their purpose.
So how does one find their purpose and know that they're on the right path?
My teacher, Michael Berg, has been with me for 25 years. I asked him this question once. I remember in New York City at a dinner, and I said, if a person wants to know their purpose, what's a simple way of figuring it out? And he said, very simple. Every single day, ask out loud to the universe and pray. Yes. What is my purpose? Show me my purpose. I'm ready to see my purpose. Prayer is the most powerful technology that actually religion has kind of distorted. Like, you know, the negative side has created a bad reputation for prayer.
Yeah.
Prayer is basically a technology by which I can expand my vessel to receive the energy. Prayer is not me bribing the energy or bribing God to change, to make me more comfortable. When I speak out loud to the universe in whatever language, and I say, I want the strength to change. I want the strength to do what it takes to know what my purpose is. I want certainty in finding my soulmate, whatever it is, whatever you ask for. Just by saying it out loud, the words, the energy, your breath is connected to your soul. It expands your vessel. You go from a 60-watt bulb to a 65-watt bulb to a 70-watt bulb. The more you talk out loud and pray and request, something changes inside your soul, which makes it easier to receive all the messages and all the fulfillment.
Yeah.
That's why prayer works.
You're stating your needs in a way.
You're stating your needs. And a lot of people sometimes do it inside their head. The Kabbalists say the most powerful is to say it out loud. So something I like to do is I'll wake up earlier before anyone else, and I'll go for a walk, and I'll just talk out loud to the Creator about every category of my life. My spiritual, my physical, my business, family. And I'll just start asking for things. I'll start asking for the wisdom of what I need to do to draw them. I'll ask for the strength to pass the tests when they come. It's endless. I spend at least an hour doing it. That hour saves me hundreds of hours a month in chaos, pain, and suffering.
When many years ago, when you asked your teacher this question, and then you were trying to find your purpose and you asked for it out loud for the universe to show you, what are some things magic that happened?
That was the time that I was only teaching Kabbalah. I had no money and nothing. And I knew that once I started a family, I need to like figure out how to bring abundance. Yeah. And I had no idea. I didn't know what I was going to do, how I was going to do it. And I didn't know how the Creator wanted me to manifest that. And it was about a year of really being poor and broke. I mean, poor is an understatement. Like not having paid rent for 6 months, not having enough money for food, it was bad. You know, you work for a nonprofit and you live in New York City. It could not make ends meet, but I also knew that was my purpose, to help bring light to the world, and I didn't want to leave that. So I used to pray all the time to the Creator, like, show me what is meant to happen. And then I received kind of like a voice. Like we all get
Like a download.
you get a download. Everybody has the power to get the
During
download.
meditation or just randomly aha moment.
Correct. And if you do it long enough and you're open enough, the messages come. And a lot of people say, how do I know? You know when you know.
Yes.
And if you don't know yet, it means you got to keep going.
Yeah.
And then the download came that I need to become the vibration of the millionaire, billionaire, whatever I want it to be. I couldn't keep asking for it. I had to just become it. And so I switched my mindset at that exact moment. I was walking down New York City. I said, I'm no longer going to say I'm broke looking for something.
Yeah.
I started to visualize that actually I owned the real estate. I already was. I acted with the happiness and joy of as if I already achieved it. I operated at this vibration, and it was 7 days later that we came up with the idea of a liquid vitamin. And then again, we had no money. Then I started to do my research. I started to look at manufacturers. One said, her minimum was 20,000 bottles. I said, I can afford 20 bottles. And she laughed. And I just said, look, I know you have no reason to believe me, but I'll be your biggest customer one day. I have certainty.
Stop it.
I said, just make me those 20 bottles. And she's like, I don't know why I'm saying yes, but I'll do it. She sent us 20 bottles, and the rest was history. And today we're the largest liquid vitamin company in the nation. We're also the largest vitamin company in the nation on Amazon. And we have a lot more stats like that. But we ended up actually outgrowing this manufacturer completely.
Oh.
They couldn't even supply us anymore. Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Oh, was she out of New York?
No, the West Coast. Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, I definitely want to talk about how you incorporated spirituality into Mary Ruth's Organic and that story and journey, and then talk about soulmates.
Whatever you want.
Yes, because that's very fascinating to me. And I see a lot of similarities between this concept that's become very popular of manifestation, which I also like to call neural pathways, just being created by being versus by being and acting like you already have it. Yeah. And so this is also why Kabbalah really called to me.
I love that.
Yes. So tell me from early days Mary Ruth's Organic, how you incorporated your spirituality into building the business.
Well, first thing I'll say has a lot to do with limited belief systems that I started to uncover about myself throughout the journey. For example, we started off our business on the days of Amazon, and we started to learn how Amazon works. We became masters at Amazon. Okay, we became masters. We understood Amazon. It was easy for us. We were all in Amazon. And then I started to meet people. There's 3 major ways you could sell your product back then. There's more today, but it was Amazon, it was Shopify through your website, mainly Shopify, and then there's retail. And what's interesting is as you meet different founders, each founder kind of grew up in a different category. Some people were just retail, some people were just Shopify, some people were just Amazon. One thing that was for certain is that whatever area you grew up in, you thought that the other person's area was impossible.
Yeah.
So for example, when I thought about selling Mary Ruth's products in retail, I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds hard, impossible. I don't get it. I don't want to deal with it. And subconsciously, I pushed it away for 8 years. When it came to the website, I said, I don't even know how to operate Facebook ads. And it was too much for me. Limited belief system around growing and scaling it. So I put it off for 2 years. And I just focused on Amazon. Yeah. And then one day I went to an event and I met this really successful person doing tens of millions of dollars. And I said, where do you sell? And he's like, I sell just on my website. And I'm like, damn, is that easy? Isn't that hard? He's like, oh, it's super easy. Facebook ads are super easy. I said, why don't you sell on Amazon? And he's like, oh, that sounds impossible. And he's like, and then they take all these commissions. And he went on and on. All this stuff that I know is not accurate.
Yeah.
And I'm telling him, I'm like, dude, none of what you're saying is accurate. It's the easiest channel. And he's like, well, Shopify is the easiest channel. And then I meet the retail guy. The retail guy, retail is the easiest. You just get it in. And we're looking at each other and we're realizing we all have limited beliefs about each other's areas. And that's why subconsciously we're pushing away the success. Elon Musk thinks it's easy to colonize Mars. He believes it's actually a necessity. He actually wrote in his book that he'd rather not live than not pursue the colonization of Mars. And because he thinks it's easy, he expands his vessel and draws the right engineers, the right ideas, the right laws get passed. Everything goes his way because his belief system is it's easy.
Yeah.
So when your belief system is something is difficult, you subconsciously are always pushing it away to make sure that it never manifests. So Those were the first big lesson that I learned. Is it easy? Is it hard to get to 5 million of revenue? Well, depends on who you ask. 10 million, depends on who you ask. 50 million, 100 million. If somebody told me you're going to get to 400 million of revenue, I'd be like,
easy, damn it.
I have to tell myself every morning it's easy.
Yeah.
I have to tell myself every morning it's easy to have 100 million customers. It's easy to service 500 million customers. Because most people think about it. You have a business, you have a great product. If I told you, Melissa, like, how easy will it be for you to get your product out to 100 million people by next year?
Super easy.
You'll be like, oh, I don't even want to think about that, right? And as a result, but if I took your product right now and I handed it to Elon Musk, and he had none of his resources, just his brain, he'd find a way to put it in the hands of 1 billion people in the next year. That's the vessel of the person. There's a reason why CEOs of Fortune 500 company get paid hundreds of millions of dollars. They're not even that smart. They don't even know the business better than the people under them. But what do they have that no one else has that's priceless? It's consciousness. It's unlimited belief system. It's that anything is possible. It's this ability that I can manage 300,000 employees easily. I know people who are suffering just with 10 employees, like they want to kill themselves.
Yeah.
So how can you manage 300,000 employees easily? And then my friend over here, 10, is on the verge of a nervous breakdown. It's all mindset.
Yeah.
And so I've learned that the best way to identify your limited and negative mindsets and belief systems, which is all really tikkun, is to just spend time with people who don't have it.
Yeah.
So I'm always going to lunches and dinners and trying to network only to learn and absorb through osmosis their belief system about how to manifest in their specific area.
Because it's an expander for you.
Very much an expander.
So then when you realized everyone knew their bread and butter, yours being Amazon, theirs being Shopify and retail.
Third being retail, yeah.
Then what did you do? Did you catch your thoughts? Like, oh no, we're going here again, David, saying that this is hard. No, it's easy. Like cut off, reframe, or how did you?
I would say, tell me more. Can I take you to lunch? Tell me more about retail. Tell me more how you do it. How did this work? How did that work?
So you would focus on the person and get more info out of them.
Correct. And I always made sure to add more value to them than they would add to me. That's also another something I live by, which is I always need to add more to you than you do to me because that's where miracles happen. So I would tell them, hey, look, I will open my book and show you everything how Amazon works, and I would love to hear from you how retail works. And so even today, I have these text chat groups on text message. I have one that's 10 founders, all of who they've created businesses that are at least 100 million of revenue each. From 0 to 100 million, they built it. I have another one that's actually this different group of people, also 100 million plus. And all we do all day long is message each other what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong.
I would like to be a fly on those WhatsApp walls.
We've often talked about if people could see the conversations that are going on, it is virtually priceless. It's not just the information and the content, which is so rich, so powerful, so real time. You have 10 CEOs that are constantly writing their secrets, their numbers, what's going right, what's going wrong, macroeconomics, microeconomics, like everything. But what's powerful is we're helping each other break limited beliefs. I know a guy, he's a wizard in marketing, but he's not that good at product development.
Yeah.
So for him, coming out with products, it's really like a heavy lift in his brain. For me, product development, I love it. We could come out with 5-10 products a month, and we know how to create the right teams for it, the right quality teams, the right infrastructure for it. So I'll tell him how easy it is and show him the system of how it works to come out with products. And then he'll show me how easy it is to scale on Facebook or TikTok when at a time I didn't see anything was possible. So we're always helping each other out.
That's amazing.
And I would say for the audience, how many of you have groups, even if some of us are direct competitors too.
Yeah. But
we support each other. Form masterminds or groups. Even if there's a group of dads, I spend time with great dads. I'm like, how are you a great dad? What do you do to be a great dad? Tell me the top 3 things you've learned being a dad. Learn.
Yeah.
Absorb from people who have done it before and do it well.
So you think a lot of your co-building with Mary Ruth's Organic attributes to clearing your limited mindset and hanging out with people who have done it and focusing on that. Are there any other ways?
I have no business degree. I have no formal training. I've never started a company before. I don't know the first thing about marketing, graphic design, supply chain, finance. I'm the dumbest one in the company. Everybody we have 200 people, we have 200 employees. Every one of them is smarter than me in their respective departments. What I bring to the table is just open consciousness, like an open vessel to attract the right talent, the right ideas, the right product, the right miracles to those employees. Because if my consciousness is limited, if Mary Ruth's consciousness is limited, then the energy doesn't flow down to the vice president, to the director, to the manager. Everyone gets stuck. The company's only as good as the founder and the CEO.
So you just focus on clearing limiting beliefs and learning from people who have the opposite of your limited belief, a compelling belief.
Correct. And then Mary Ruth and I will share that vision both physically and spiritually, energetically down to the rest of the company.
Wow.
Yeah.
This conversation is giving me all the feels. And was Mary Ruth into Kabbalah prior to you guys getting married? I remember on a podcast you said she was like really into fitness and nutrition.
Yeah, that's how we met. She came to the spiritual path just from tragedies that happened in her own life. Her 17-year-old brother passed away when she was 18 suddenly, and her father had suddenly passed away, and she was looking for answers spiritually that therapy wasn't giving about why death occurs and reincarnation. And Kabbalah addresses this so beautifully. And that's what brought her to spirituality. And yeah, we met there.
This leads me on to my next topic, soulmates.
Okay.
So I would like you to define what a soulmate is.
So a lot of people are kind of stuck on this idea. Two things. One is like soulmate is one person, and that soulmate makes you like feel a certain way. That's just so magical and beautiful. And that's there too. But soulmates, we have to understand soulmates are any soul that's on the journey to bound with us to help us grow, right? People who are maybe on their second or third marriage, each of them were your soulmate. People who just have a great friend that's been helping them. The friend is a soulmate. Because you have to understand how the soul works. When the soul, let's say, has a certain correction, and it doesn't fulfill that correction, it doesn't just come back again into a new body with the same correction. It actually divides. Because it was deemed that one body couldn't achieve this correction. It was too much. So it will divide into like 4 or 5 different humans, each of them taking a quarter or a fifth of the correction. So all of these fragmented souls are soulmates.
Yeah.
And this has happened thousands of times. So really, if you think about it, you could be in a room with 100 people and all of them used to actually be one soul at one point. And so we're all soulmates in certain ways. So what we want to do is to call in the right soul that is best for where we're at. And that's why I tell people, the more work you do on yourself, the higher quality of soul you're going to draw in. So the question is like, at what point do you kind of like let that relationship happen?
Yeah. 2 questions. Why do you think divorce happens? And sometimes, if you're either dating, and you've had past relationships and you feel you've never felt that way before, and you've had a lot of like meaningful relationships. I know it's kind of 2 separate questions, but.
Okay. I mean, divorce can happen for so many different reasons, but one of the things we need to know is that it can happen when people are growing so much that it's deemed that other souls are meant for them.
Yeah.
It can be that they're not growing at all and they're stuck, and so they're calling in different souls as well. It can be that certain souls were meant to be together only for a certain amount of time to teach 1 or 2 lessons and then transition to something else. What we need to be conscious of is that we're doing our work and not making reactive decisions, especially around divorce.
Yeah.
Because then you end up repeating it again and again in new relationships. You just keep attracting the same kind of person. So you never want to leave one relationship to another until you've done the work to understand why you were in that first one to begin with.
And why you were with them, and I guess what lessons you learned throughout your journey with them.
Why your soul drew them in.
Why what?
Why your soul drew them in the first place.
Yeah.
And just to blame them and say, well, they cheated, or they're an addict, or they're this, or they're a narcissist. That's my favorite. Even if they're a narcissist, which by the way, 99.9% of people we label as narcissistic are not.
Yeah.
Clinically defined, but it's very easy to just say they're all these things. The real question I always ask is, okay, assuming all that is true, I just want to know why your soul called it in.
Yeah.
And if we don't answer that question, your soul's going to call it in again, and it's going to be very expensive. So why don't we get to the bottom of that?
Yeah.
Why do you love narcissists? Why do you attract? Why does it give you pleasure? Oh, it doesn't give me any pleasure. I hate it so much. There's something about it that is self-soothing and familiar and feeding a lack Hence why you subconsciously look for it.
So how does one, I guess, dig and find out the why they were with a certain person, the why that they, I mean, obviously it's transparent if you've leveled up through practices and
as soon as you want to know, you begin the process of knowing. Right now, people are listening to the podcast and they weren't thinking at all today that they want to know why.
Yeah.
They were just thinking, how do I get through it? How do I enjoy it? How do I fix it? But now they're listening to this and they're like, you know what? I want to know. Just by this, listening to this podcast, it's already shifting their destiny. And the creator is already now going to give them the wisdom and understanding of why. Because they're creating a vessel for it. If you want to take it to another level,
yes,
pray, ask. Right after this podcast, you listen to it, sit in silence for 5 minutes, talk out loud to the universe, to the creator, whatever, and say, I want to know why I'm in this relationship.
Yeah.
I want to know what I need to correct. I want to know what I need to do for them. I want to know what they need to do for me. Just by saying it out loud, and every day you spend 5 minutes saying it, you will have so much revealed to you.
Wow. And then the second part of the question, if you've been in some relationships in your life, and at the time, obviously, you think, oh my gosh, it's amazing. But then you later in life meet someone where you have like way more like connections with. How, like, were those people prior your soulmates, or
Yes.
were you in love with them?
Yes.
Then
yeah.
how come it levels up?
Because you leveled up.
True.
Let's put it this way. For example, let's say a person has parasites in their body, right? All these parasite cleanses going on. When a person has parasites in their body, the parasites make them crave or desire foods that aren't so good for them. For example, parasites crave sugar. So you say, well, I have a sweet tooth. Do you have a sweet tooth, or is it because you ate so much raw fish that you have parasites and the parasites crave sugar? So who craves the sugar? Then let's say you do a parasite cleanse. You don't have parasites anymore. And then you don't crave sugar anymore.
Yes, that's a great analogy, especially for these listeners.
Right. So what just happened? You cleansed an aspect of negativity that then changed your desire, but not changed it. It brought it to its true desire, what your body truly wants. Because the body doesn't want sugar. The body doesn't need processed sugar to live, but it's craving it because there's other forces in it that's causing it to crave. So if I have a fear of abandonment, this is a parasite.
Yeah.
This is another force inside of me that's saying, hey, I know this person's toxic. I know they're not good for me, but gosh, I just want it right now and I can't live without it because I don't want to feel abandoned. And this is what, So then you choose things that maybe deep down or your soul or your friends are waving red flags saying, what are you doing? You're like, I get it, but I just want it.
Yeah.
So let me have it. So that's why Kabbalah starts purifying all these parasites. And then you get, wow, this is really what I want. Wait, actually, this is really what I want. And each time you attract different people as a result of what you crave.
That's so true. And life is such divine timing. I look back like this December, January, February, I was doing deep work. Like I wasn't seeing my friends. I was meditating every day. I canceled a New Year's trip. That's more of like a luxury party trip to go to like a spa and do self-work. And it's crazy. And I just feel such a level up this year. So I really resonate with these messages.
I love that.
And speaking of parasite cleanses, I would love to talk about...
Great transition.
A great transition here. You said it, not me. I would love to talk about Kabbalah and spirituality and people's health and people getting sick and sickness and in health.
Where would you like to start?
I guess let's start with Kabbalah's take on it.
Sickness?
Yes.
So Kabbalah explains that messages come to us in 4 stages. There's like 4 levels of pain. It starts very subtle. It could be like, I don't know, you listen to this podcast and you get inspired to change something. You're like, wow, I need to change something. That's actually a message from the creator coming via the podcast for you to change something.
Yeah.
Very subtle. It doesn't really push you to change, but it inspires you. Correct. Let's say I don't listen to it, but my soul needs to do it. That's why it came to me. So then the messages get a little bit louder. It can be like a parking ticket. It could be a car accident. Eventually, messages get louder and louder until it's in the body. Because once something's in the body, it's very hard to ignore. You could have all the money in the world, all the ego, all the power, but as soon as a person gets sick, all they care about is removing their sickness. And so sickness often is a result of the fourth level of pain manifesting in order to deliver a message of transformation. Something. So it's not enough just to look for the right medicine, the right doctor, because you're only dealing with the symptom, not the cause. It's important to do both. Look for the doctor while you look within yourself and ask yourself, what negativity am I carrying that I haven't let go yet that's manifested as this disease? A lot of people talk about this.
Yeah.
Let's say a person's holding on to anger. Person's holding on to some kind of bitterness from the past or guilt and shame. Maybe they had an abortion. Maybe something happened. Someone who held on to this guilt of having an abortion for like 60 years. And it manifests as like tumors.
Yeah.
It manifests as different health conditions because whatever negativity you're holding on to spiritually has to manifest as something physical eventually. If I can meditate on, building a business and eventually manifest into a business. So if you meditate on guilt and shame all the time, that manifests too in the body. So really we got to work on clearing and acknowledging like, what am I holding on to? Is there a family member you're still upset with and you've been justified in holding on to it for years? Okay, but that's going to be sickness. Is there a person who hurt you, cheated on you, abandoned you, and you haven't forgiven them? Okay, well, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but you're holding on to it. That has to manifest energetically as some kind of health condition. Often it's an autoimmune disorder.
Yeah.
It's something that attacks the body. It could, you know what it is? It's the body's confused and starts to attack something that's good, thinking it's bad. That's autoimmune.
Yeah. I used to have one of those. I put it into remission.
Did.
I did.
And I'm almost sure it wasn't just because of, peptides and ice baths and all that.
It was
work.
diet and deep work and calming my nervous system and calming the nervous system. It's a lot of somatic practices.
100%. So that healing takes place when I finally realize like how valuable it is to let go so that I can just be a perfect vessel to receive light. It's not about right or wrong. It's personal. It's never personal. The Creator sent all these people to you to get you to the highest level. The Creator, you asked the Creator to send them.
The sickness is almost like do not pass go, do not collect 200. Like, hey, dummy, I've been trying to show you this message. Now you really have to deal with it.
The final message is actually the second to last message.
Yeah.
What's the final message?
Death.
It's death. Death is that point. There's many reasons why people die, but one reason is it is deemed that the messages are no longer effective in the transformation of what the soul needs. So the soul hits the eject button, says, give me a new body, give me a new circumstance, give me new everything. Let me start this process over again. And of course, why children die, it's a whole different lesson. Like there's a lot, why teenagers die, there's why suicide, like there's a lot to unpack. Like I think I talk about it in Kabbalah too, the Kabbalah 2 masterclass, all about death and reincarnation. There's a lot to unpack there. But the point is that there's answers to all of this. So we don't have to live in darkness.
Not to be morbid, but
I knew you were going to go there.
You knew I was going there.
Yeah.
Why do children die?
Well, first, it's a very painful discussion to have.
We don't have to go there if you don't want to.
Well, no, I don't mind going there, but I think you're asking because somebody needs to hear it. That's often why these things come up, because somebody is listening and they need to hear it. So if a child under the age of 12 for a girl or 13 for a boy leaves this world, it was deemed before they came to this world that they were going to leave. And they're actually very corrected souls that came as volunteers only for the tikkun of the parents and the people around. So they came. It's like, imagine the Creator says, hey, these two souls, these parents, have such a great potential, have such a great destiny, that they need something as painful as death to move them along in that journey for whatever reason. So this perfected angelic soul says, I will volunteer to come down, and at the age of 3 or 5, or even at birth, I will then leave in order to precipitate and accelerate a process for the parents and everyone around that is very painful to go through a spiritual path. Miscarriages are the same thing. And the free will of the child to connect or disconnect from the light of the Creator doesn't happen until 12 for a girl, 13 for a boy. And anything before then is 100% tied to the karma or the correction of the parents.
Wow. And does Kabbalah say that everything is predetermined? And if it does, are you ever able to course correct a predetermination? This is like Matrix stuff.
The answer is yes to both. When you're born, your entire destiny is pre-written. Every single thing, every person you're going to meet, every sneeze, every amount of money you're going to make, down to the dollar. But that's just one destiny that's written. There are infinite destinies that are pre-written, each of them either better or worse than where you're at. So our free will isn't to change the destiny you're in. Our free will is to shift to a new destiny or not. It's kind of going to a movie theater. If you don't like the movie, you can't rewrite the movie. You can just leave the theater and go into another theater. So if you don't like the way your life is right now, you can't change the people. You can't change the actors. What you can do is change yourself, which then causes you to shift to a new destiny that's also pre-written, but it's a better version.
I call it the actors too. This is like my movie.
That's right.
Stop.
That's right.
This is so crazy. Kabbalah is so for me.
Yeah. Yes.
It's wild.
You'll see Kabbalah is going to tie everything you've ever learned together into like one beautiful system.
It's so insane.
Yeah.
And what are misconceptions that are like common?
About Kabbalah?
Yes.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
You know, you could interview yourself.
One, until you've taken a course, you just don't know what it is. People think, is it Madonna? Is it this?
I know. Madonna
is it Judaism?
Gets so
is it like, oh my God, there's so many. What Kabbalah is universal spiritual wisdom that started with Abraham, passed down from Moses to Jesus, like all these great souls. They were all very spiritual souls. Religion wasn't created until later. The Jewish faith protected the wisdom of Kabbalah in its spiritual form. And that's why the association is there. And some Jews think it's only for Jews. And there's all this like debate out there. The truth is we all came from one creator.
Yeah.
All religions came from one source, Abrahamic wisdom. And so Abraham was the first Kabbalist. So Kabbalah is basically the deepest part of all the religions. And that's why all the religions who study Kabbalah, they feel so enamored by it and connected to it, that it helps explain their particular religion. Now, why were certain souls born into Jewish families or Muslim families or Hindu family or Catholic or Christian? All of that is based on what the soul needs. But the truth is, all of these religions are tied together by one spiritual thread. And so Kabbalah explains that thread. Kabbalah explains the commonality behind all of them. So yeah, there's misconceptions, but I love people who are skeptical or have misconceptions because as soon as they hear the first glass of Kabbalah one, it all goes away. They're like, I had no idea this is what it was. I've been looking for this my whole life, and I'm in. There's not one. I don't think I've ever even, maybe there have been a couple of people who have come to take my classes. And it's not at all because of me. It's because of the wisdom. And they leave and go, oh, I had no idea that's what it was. And it really helped me. I have family members who thought I was absolutely insane for teaching Kabbalah. Like
people
smart.
Think people are insane when it almost like scares them.
It scared them because they saw, hey, this guy dedicated his life to it. He could have been this like successful guy and he chose to go nonprofit. Like, is he in a cult? Like what happened? I had everybody thinking I was in a cult. All the people who thought
Pretty
I was
sick cult.
I said, listen, if it's a cult, it's the best cult out there. I said, what do you mean? We're all in cults. Like you're in the iPhone cult, you're in the crypto cult, you're in the online gambling cult, like you're in the vegan cult. Like it's all these cults. So I think the point is, all the people who thought like I was crazy, like they just didn't know. And then they came, each one of them came and they're like, oh my God, like this is life changing. And now I'm so close to them because the wisdom brings us together.
That's amazing. A big concept in Kabbalah seems to be the concept of certainty.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about certainty.
Certainty is the most powerful vibration of the Creator. The Creator is a force of certainty, not a force of doubts. So in life, the more doubts we have, the more we're disconnected from the world of miracles. The more certainty we have, the faster the miracles come and the negativity is pushed out. So what does certainty look like? Some people think certainty is, oh, I see a house that I like, and there's 10 people trying to buy this house. I have certainty this is my house. That's not certainty, because what if it's not your house? That's using your mind to manipulate something that's not meant for you. Well, let's say you're dating somebody, you're like, oh, I have certainty she's my soulmate. So I'm going to just mind over matter, make a vision board. How do you know she's just, what if she's not? So certainty is not about this or that is mine. Certainty is, regardless of if this or that is mine, I have certainty that I will have everything. I have certainty in the fact that I already have it. But then the voice comes up and says, oh, but you don't have this, and you're broke, and you're getting older, and you want to have kids, and the biological clock, and all the doubts come.
Yeah.
And you got to say to the voice, no, I have certainty. I have certainty that because I desire love, I will have love. In fact, I already have it. I just don't see it yet. I have certainty that everything's going to be okay. In fact, it already is. And then the voice comes back and goes, how do you know? Look, you have nothing now. Are you sure? And this conversation goes back and forth. So who's going to win? The voice of doubts or the voice of certainty? Those who ensure that the voice of certainty wins, miracles. Certainty is the most powerful way to manifest miracles. So yeah, Kabbalah 1, we talk a lot about it, about how to build certainty, greater and greater certainty, to live a life of certainty, not doubts.
And the last question, that voice inside your head you speak of, is that you or is that just...
That voice, Kabbalah say it's a positive angel disguised as a negative one, aka the opponent, that's there to help you earn the light. It grows in strength as you grow. So as you become more spiritual, it becomes trickier in order to constantly challenge you exactly at your level to earn the creator.
I love that.
Yeah.
David, where could people find you?
They can find me on social media, my Instagram. My handle is just David Ghiyam, G-H-I-Y-A-M as in Mary. Or if they want to learn deeper, masterclass that I developed 6 years ago, 100% of proceeds go to charity. You can pay whatever you want, even $1. You can pay nothing. But it is the most powerful course, step-by-step teaching you all this wisdom. I promise you by the second or third class, your life will never be the same.
I'm on module 1.
You are, and you already know what it's like. So that is Kabbalah1.com, KABBALAHONE.com. Just sign up, pay whatever you want, all goes to charity. By the first class, you're going to see a massive shift in your life.
I got to go home. I got to go to the second module. Thank you so much, David.
So thank you for having me.